Welcome back. You're listening to Get Real with Bob and Stacy. You're joining us for our Leaders and Legends segment. Our guest is Ian Kahn, author of Meaningful Conversations and 3-time TEDx speaker. Welcome to the show, Ian.
Thanks a lot, Bob, Stacy. It's a pleasure to be here.
So I have a bunch of questions for you. First, we only have 17 minutes, and I know through your technology talks, you talk about Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and blockchain. In 1 minute or less, can you first explain what Internet of Things means?
Great question, Stacy. The Internet of Things really means that when everything is connected to the Internet in some way or the other, and these devices perform a function and send back information, how do we use that information, and what can we do by connecting everything to the Internet? This is your cars, this is kitchen equipment, this is your refrigerator. So that's really the power of Internet of Things.
Okay. That was the best, really fast explanation. I actually interviewed somebody recently on the Internet of Things, and after I interviewed him, I'm like, I still don't really understand what that means. All right, next one, artificial intelligence. Tell us in 30 seconds what artificial intelligence is.
So artificial intelligence is when machines start making decisions based on a certain logic that they have already been provided. Now, there's a concept of machine-to-machine learning where devices are able to perform functions based on their previous calculations that they've done. So if you've seen the movies like Terminator and a bunch of those, machines don't have their own intelligence, but they've got the experience of making thousands and millions of decisions in the past that they use to make newer decisions. And that's what artificial intelligence is. Now, extrapolated, it becomes very complex, where complex decisions can be made using machines, but based on the algorithms that feed them and based on what we tell them what to do in certain circumstances. And that's what really artificial intelligence is.
Okay. The last one is the hardest because I have read articles on this subject. I still totally do not get what blockchain is. So let's see if you can explain in layman terms what blockchain is.
I'll do my best. So blockchain really is the idea of a distributed ledger. Imagine this in a very simple context. You've got an accountant. Your accountant has a big ledger, a physical ledger in which the accountant stores all the information. Now, that's the traditional model of a database where everything is stored in one place. Now, if this ledger is now distributed to the Internet, to hundreds and millions of different nodes where the same information is stored, and every time something changes in one place, every node is updated with that information, that's your distributed ledger. And that's really the concept behind blockchain, that it's no longer stored in one place, and it's stored in multiple hundreds and thousands of places. So changing things and stealing things and hacking into things, it becomes very impossible because there's a security mechanism that keeps check on what changed where. And as a result, it's really impossible to crack the code or to hack into something. And that's really the fundamental idea behind blockchain.
Okay, so as a business owner, so many of the people that listen to our show are business owners or salespeople, and we are living in a world that is so fast-paced as far as technology changes. How would you recommend that your average business owner or salesperson just stay on top of technology?
Great question. The challenge with technology is that we often confuse the applications of technology with the actual technology. The average business person who's got their business decisions to make, the salesperson who's got their sales to do, I don't think they need to know, at a higher level what goes behind the scenes when we talk about technology.
Right.
But they need to know the implications of that technology. For example, if you're banking with a bank, it's great to know what technology they're using and how that technology affects you. So if your bank was to implement blockchain in the next 5 years, you would really benefit from that because it helps your transactions be more secure. It'll help you have more peace of mind that nobody's going to hack into my account. but you necessarily do not need to know how blockchain works and how these distributed ledgers create security. So I think we need to separate the complexity of technology from the applications of technology. And in my opinion, the actual beauty lies in the application of technology, because it's the solutions that drive where technology is going tomorrow. So the power actually lies in the hands of the people who are the end users, because they come up with the problems for which technologies create a solution. The average business owner, the average person who's out there, in my opinion, needs to be aware of the developments that are taking place. They need to be updated with news and podcasts such as yours, but not necessarily take such a deep dive that it becomes confusing.
Okay. So tell us what your newest book, I know you have a bunch of books out, Make Me Like You, 21 Steps to Get Ahead, The Internet of Things and the Future of Innovation. Tell us what your newest book that's coming out, Meaningful Conversations, is all about.
Great. So Meaningful Conversations is a result of, the last 20 years of my work within the industry. And having worked with a ton of companies, from startups to medium-sized companies to manufacturing to healthcare, across verticals and across the world, it's really a distilled-down version of what I felt is the true calling and true way to create value within today's technologically disruptive time. There's too much noise in the world when it comes to technology and how it's changing everything, and how how our attention spans are less than that of a goldfish today. And the challenge with all of that is that we get lost in the details, we get lost in the noise, and we forget that we have the ability to create value in our own hands. If you look at stats, employee dissatisfaction is rising. Engagement is becoming a tough nut to crack for organizations, and really we're wasting a lot more time spending on YouTube looking at cat videos, while we should be doing something that actually creates value. Mm-hmm. So Meaningful Conversations is a step back from this entire technology confusion, and it's about what can you really do in simple steps to change your value proposition to the world. How can you have a better quality of life for yourself? And we're separating ourselves from the financial aspect of life. Money is just one part of life. It's a good part. It's a very significant part of our lives. But money is not the only part in our life that means value. There's a lot more to value creation than just the financial aspect. So Meaningful Conversation is actually a story about our protagonist, who's very successful, and he's got everything. He's worked hard, got everything what he needs, and he undergoes certain situations in his life that take him through some very dramatic ups and downs, and he ends up in a place that is that actually is part of his roots, and he's immersed into the 7 axioms of value creation in a remote region, among some beautiful mountain country in the world. And the lessons he learns there are really something that propels him forward and opens up his mind to what the possibilities are and what really value creation means. So Meaningful Conversations is a book that can be read by individuals, by thought leaders, by politicians, and really make the world into a better place. The power in the book is about its simplicity, mm-hmm. and it's very easy to understand and read. And really, if we all followed the 7 axioms within the book, I think we would create a tremendous amount of value for ourselves. We would live a much happier life. And if money was a goal for you, you would mm-hmm. actually probably end up making a lot more money than you are right now, and be very successful in your career as well.
Okay.
But it's about understanding what it really means is to create value, and that's what the book is about.
Okay, so you described me at the beginning that I am the person that has the attention span of a goldfish, and it's because I wasn't like this my entire life, But now I'm like constantly, I can't even like relax at night because I hear a ding on a phone, and it might not even be a ding of a phone. It could be another noise off a TV, but I think I just got a text message. So it's like you cannot escape. So you say that you share in the book 7 steps to create a better value proposition for your life. Can you share with our listeners one of the steps that you would recommend?
Absolutely, Stacey, and that's such a great point. I mean, today we live in an age of distraction, and if you fast forwarded our life 50 years from now, and imagine we are 50 years ahead, and you look back into time and you think about 2017, and you think, how distracted were we in 2017, right? I mean, I think it would look really silly, just like we look things 100 years ago, how things were not technologically advanced. We would say, wow, that was the age when the internet had just started off and we had these cell phones and we all were glued to our cell phones. Now, we don't know in the future how that engagement would have changed. But the point is, it's all about perspective. How do we interact with our environments? What are we able to give away to gain what? Now, in the age of distraction today, we're sacrificing our time, and we're utilizing that time and spending it on the TV, on the internet, and doing whatever we do, to stay in touch with people. But I think the idea behind, creating value out of your life should be more about, how is my time best utilized today so that it can be useful in some other way. Now, within the book, I talk about 7 different actions, and they really have nothing to do with technology. They're not about, switch off your cell phone at night because it'll create value for you or do something else. It's not about that. But let me tell you about the action number 6. So one of the points in my book is about helping others achieve their goals, really, and it's not about us anymore. And it might seem a bit strange that in order to, create value and achieve your goals and your targets, why am I helping somebody else? But that's really the essence of value creation. That's just one of the points within the book. Now, when you start thinking as a value creator, when you start thinking from the perspective of I'm going to create value, you've got to separate yourself a little bit and be not so personal about it. When you start helping other people, and of course, you're aligning who you're helping, how you're helping them with your skills and your expertise, you're actually setting up a chain reaction for value creation. And trust me, that will come back to you in many, many different ways. Once that chain starts, you will find that other people are ready to help you achieve your goals. And that's just one of the 7 points within the book. That's not about money. It's not about it's not about you, but it's about, again, creating value. And the other 6 points are very similarly aligned, to being valuable to the environment around you. Overall, the Meaningful Conversation book does not talk about anything new that we don't know about already. The writers in the world, the philosophers, the scientists have already talked about so many different things over the ages that I don't think anything new can be invented. But in the age of distraction, what happens is that we're distracted from everything. We are distracted from our everyday goals, responsibilities, roles, and then we end up finding a week later or 10 days later that, hey, I don't have the things that I should have had, or I haven't done the things that I've done. So if you look at the Meaningful Conversations as a pathway for everyday living, then you've got something in your hand.
So we only have a couple minutes left, and I was reading in your bio that you have a wife and son, and I'm curious. I have a 7-year-old daughter, and she's absolutely as technology addicted as I am. The kid constantly is on an iPad or an iPhone, and I was wondering if there's anything that you've done with your son to make sure that he's having a meaningful life and creating a better value proposition for himself.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my son is a year and a half old.
Oh, so he's not addicted yet.
It's a big challenge.
Yeah.
No, but hey, listen, it is such a challenge to keep him entertained that I cannot take technology out of the equation. So this is what we try to do is, we give him his technology time, we show him the educational and the learning cartoons, but then I also make sure that I'm taking him out in nature and I'm going on long walks with him. I'm taking him out and showing him new things, so I'm exposing him to all of those elements as well, and not just getting him to sit in front of the TV the whole day.
Gotcha.
I think there is a place for technology in our world, in our lives, and we cannot say no to it because it brings so much value to us.
Right.
Businesses are becoming more productive. Our lives are more enriched. But I think there's also a limitation and a boundary that we should carve out for ourselves and say, hey, you know what, this is too much, or I don't think I need this right now. And I think that ability to create those boundaries is really what will separate you from wasting your time to really utilizing your time and nurturing your life in a much better way. So with my son, it's a constant struggle, but I think we've got it under control.
Good stuff.
Excellent.
Where can people learn more about you and buy your books?
So you can learn more about me on my website at www.iankhan.com, and my books are available on Amazon.com. Just Google my name, Amazon, my name there, and I'll come up.
All right, awesome stuff. That was Ian Khan. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Ian.
Thanks so much. Thank you, Stacey and Bob. Thank you.
That's all for this edition of Get Real. Make sure you join us again next weekend for more.